My name is Oluranti Ladapo, and this is the Global Perspective podcast. I'd like to welcome you into this episode, which is going to be to pay tribute to the memory of Dr. Moses Olubunmi Ayayi. Dr. Ayayi was born in 1948 and passed away December of 2021. What the Global Perspective podcast is all about is to encourage people to speak up and speak out, because the time and season that we are in now globally is a time and season where extreme voices have taken over, and people with moderate voices, intelligent people, people that are thoughtful, people that are meek, leaders that are passionate, servant leaders, are today taking backstage because they think they do not have voices again because of the seemingly overwhelming voices of the extremes. Extremism is coming up as conspiracy theories, and some people are tending to be far right or far left, with the middle diminishing. So Global Perspective is encouraging people who are getting discouraged, who are getting frustrated, to continue to speak up and speak out. Shortly before the demise of Dr. Ayayi, I was going to have him on this podcast. But because of his activities that I know, some of the activities that he engaged in that I know, I did not have the courage to saddle him with so much responsibility again of having him to spare at least 1 hour with us on this program. But it was late eventually before because I couldn't get him to come on this program. But today I have wonderful people here that we're going to be having conversation, essentially to pay tribute to his memory. I have here with me today Dr. Gideon Adegbile. You are welcome, sir. I have here Dr. Odutolu, and I have Mr. Bolu Babatunde here on the program. We are also expecting Dr. Oluwade Ayayi, who is a sibling of Dr. Moses Olubunmi Ayayi. And we are also expecting Dr. Olutoyin Adewale. All of us will be talking about this great man. I'd like to start taking the tribute from our leader, our elder, Dr. Gideon Adegbile. Dr. Adegbile, sir. Yeah, yes. I would like to, okay. Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Well, actually, and I apologize, I am currently in Atlanta, going back to Dayton, Ohio, within the next few hours. I'll be on catching my flight, so I'm getting ready to kind of catch my flight. Okay. But very briefly, my brother, Bumi, as I call him, and he, of course, always addressed me, my brother or brother, was very, very dear to me in more ways than I can count. Not only as an Adegbile himself, even though his mother was Ni Adegbile and married into Ayayi family. So that's how close we are. So his grandfather and my father were brothers. So from that perspective, we're very close. And of course, because of the Agape Love Mission that he and I partnered, to make happen by taking a medical mission to Nigeria. He was our legs, our eyes, our feet, our everything in Nigeria, in Ire, to make things happen on the ground. So it's a personal big loss to me and to us. And I know his involvement in the IPA in Ire, his involvement in a number of things as the board of trustees of Bakoto, that's the Baptist College of Theology in Oyo. His involvement with the Nigerian Baptist Convention, that he was part of the people who organized the convention this past year in Lagos, the Nigerian Baptist Convention. So it was very, very effective, very much into everything, and whatever he did excellently well, unquestionably well. So it is quite a loss to me personally, and to entire Ire and Nigeria, and even globally, as you had mentioned. So it's a pleasure to be here to share this forum with giants as you guys are. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, sir. I'd like to ask a quick question, sir, and follow up to what you have said. What do you think changed in Dr. Olubunmi Ayayi as he journeyed from when you knew him as family members until when he got to national and international stage? What are the traits that you saw initially that confirm who he later became in life?
When he turned 70 3 years ago, I had a celebration of his turning 70. He had sort of like a autobiography that he wrote just to express something about his life. And I would say just because his upbringing and his love for God, for Christ, and for the people. Because when you read that autobiography, so to speak, he really details some of the things that happened in his life that made him really focus on God, and that everything happened in a very special, miraculous way to him along his life's journey. As you know, he trained in town planning in Australia, and came back to Nigeria. But he was not the kind of person that would be puffed up. He was always very humble and wanted to be able to do rather than to be done for. He wanted to. So he just had that faith and the desire to help others, and that's as far as I can tell you. Here, I didn't really hook up until later in life. When his mom lived in Ibadan, the Greek, we call it a Greek back in those days, I would visit his mom and the family, but he was already in school in Ire, so for a long time, I didn't really get to interact with him until much later in life. That question can be elucidated on much better by Uluwadi, who is the younger sibling, or Foluke, or some of the younger siblings. Of course, Bumi was the oldest in the family, and he played a very wonderful role as the first child in the family. So my answer to your question may not be as full as you expected, because I didn't really interact with him until maybe the last 10 years or so.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much, sir. Yeah, I will move to Mr. Bolu. Babatunde, because I promised, and I'm sorry, I promised you, sir, that we will have you first because of the peculiarity of your location. Because of that fact, I'd like for you, sir, to tell us a quick tribute to the memory of Dr. Ayayi.
Thank you very much, Aranti, for packaging this tribute. Well, my tribute has actually been penned down, and it's in the forever in our mind.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we are having connection issue there with Mr. Babatunde.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. Just leave me,
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
I know me, Brabumi, like we used to call him. We used to be Brother Olu. Later on, when the gang assembled in a raid during his sojourn as a, I think as a graduate teacher. That was in 19. But I met him in about 1967 thereabout, when I was living with my uncle late Ibi Fatuki, and he was there. Major Ebo was there. Late Dr. Aina was there, and so we were seeing him as one of the role model, so to say, because we were always together serving them. Larry and Yomi was particularly closer to him, and so on. So we from there, the base changed to Lagos when he joined the civil service, the federal civil service. But later we came together at Onakomi and Partners when he was a town planner, and I was an office boy, kind of a thing, and then we moved on, and they were living then at number 80 Elijah Road, Bariga, where we have 4 flats then, and himself, Mr. Fatuki, and another friend of theirs. I can't remember the name now. So we were occupying 3 flats there, and there we moved closer together. In fact, it was then that his journey at Elijah, Lake Dickiness Ajayi was introduced to the gang and things like that. Then we moved on in life, and he was always 2 years ahead of anything that or any group that he belongs to. At Elijah, I was a student at the University of Lagos, and he was still working with Onakami and Partners. After that, he started his own Molage consultancy kind of a thing. And thereafter, life continued, and we moved to his house. In fact, he was the first and the only landlord in Lagos. We moved to his house at
Karaoli Estate.
Karaoli Estate, where he finished his Berkeley Estate home, and he moved there. So Karaoli Estate became a kind of beehive of activity for Ire boys and things like that. But meanwhile, he introduced us to Ire youth movement, and youth movement, I was more active in the youth movement than the Ray Progressive Union then. But then that it was so. As we were at Karaoli Estate, he introduced us to the First Baptist Church, where I attend till now, and his wife became, his late wife was one of the first set of deacons that we have. But one thing we noticed about him is creating time to do those activities and to be good father. Because I'll tell you, Yemi, that's his first son, and Yetunde, Bolaji. Then, I mean, the way they would dedicate time to see to their education, I mean, it was marvelous. And of course, Dr. Ajayi, I mean, he would do it as if it's effortless. I know now that I'm married for God, I know it must have taken a lot of his time, and he did that very perfectly, And thereafter, the life continued, and when he became a board member of Baptist Theological College, Oyo, he invited me that we need to serve the Lord in that capacity. I mean, we use our influence to improve the college. But I'll tell you, when he served there on the board of the college for 6 years. But you can go there now. That, I mean, his contribution was excellent. He did very well, both physically and in content of the college. And of course, the college cannot but to say that that demise was a big loss even to the college. After leaving the college, there's nothing that they will do that will not be there. And the last one was when he was given an award. The public function at the college, he was given an award. That was the November. Or no, that would be about October of 2021. So we when he left the board, I became a board member and been interfacing, because anything that they want to do, any message that he has to do for the college, there's always that initial discussion, and the thing was going. So I say that is for well, to the college, to the IPA. In fact, it was one of the members that convinced me to be the chairman of IPA Lagos chapter, with the position that I still keep till now. And honestly, his contribution to IPA, even in Lagos, apart from the national, but because the national, it was a past member of past president of IPA. But in Lagos, because Lagos is almost like 60% of our national IPA. But he will come to meeting, because we meet at Egbeda, and Egbeda to Magodo is a distance. But he will come. Not only coming, he will come in time, and he will contribute even till the end of his life. I mean, and again, there was the national, but of course, at the national IPA, being the president of IPA at the time in the past, I mean, speak volume. And from there, they will see physical development of Ire. It's top notch, and it's because of what he has been able to do and influence people to do. I'll tell you, in one of the earlier discussion, is that we should try as much as possible to build house in Lagos, but try to build house in Ire too. And that was the encouragement that I have personally, that I put up my home at a property in Ire outside of my family property. So we can go on and on. If I confront Baptist Church when he was a member, I mean the auditorium that we use right now, he designed it, and he produced the protocol, and he used his influence to bring people to donate for the construction of the church. I mean that also is on record, and we can go on. I won't bore you with his contribution. At Baptist the Baptist International Center, in which he was the chairman of putting a structure there before for the convention. And he did that one. I think it's about 39,000 capacity kind of thing at Lagos Ibadan Express Road. And the president of this has been there even, and he said after completing that one, they still have some property at Abuja for him to do, and he's going to do to chairman that thing. But of course, life is not that as we planned it, but God took it. So I will Dr. Ayayi will be mixed, but Abumi is will be mixed. There's no question about that. But we thank God for his life. The life he has been able to impact both his children, first and foremost, his children, and because they became role model. You want to train your own children like Dr. Ayayi and Dickness Ayayi did. That was the piloting thing that we had that about so it's 20 or so years.
So let me quickly interject before you round up your tribute.
Right.
In 1 second, sir, can you say a little about his relationship with the Alumni Association? Because I believe some of our audience will be members of the association who are not Ire indigenes.
Well, it's we can quantify his contribution, his role as chairman of Lagos, the coordinator of Lagos Zone. He will come to meeting, and he will call people to come to meetings, and suggestions. He will contribute as every other person and encourage people to contribute. And that on the Lagos Zone, on the national. I mean, we the outpour of tribute will tell you that this guy is he has a special place because he has performed creditably well, And in terms of I mean, the alumni was practically on his shoulder when even till now on that we have the crisis that the alumni was given. But he will like I said, he has 2 steps ahead of others because he will devote time, quality time to bring to think about the problem and prepare solution into it. And I think it's a vacuum that it will be very difficult to fill.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I'd like to move to Dr. Odutolu. In one of the things that you wrote about Dr. Ayayi, you mentioned your the life in Ibadan, in Greek and so on and so forth. So that may be helpful here to start with.
Thank you very much, Noti. And I also salute Bolu and Dr. Adegbile. I think what we are doing here today, nobody expects that we'll sit down today talking about this person, Mrs. Olubunmi Ayayi. about his demise. He was many paths to many people, but to me, he was not just a cousin. We grew up together. I knew him in all my existence. When things come to human memory, about things, I must have been between, 4 and 5 years. I can remember is that I cannot, at least at this point, say that, but I've known him all my life. Let me just summarize it. The time when I recognize this is life, I've known him since then. And he has always been a big brother to me in many ways. I said it in another thing I wrote. When I was growing up alone in my family because my older brothers were living with our grandparents. And my sister did not come until maybe 8 years after me. So, like I was the only one in my family. So their house was in front of our own. So I spent most of the day in their house and the night, in our house. So we were that close. And we maintained that relationship all through his life. For me, is rather precocious in getting to leadership position. He took leadership from as a child. He has always been a leader. In Odwana, where we grew up, everybody refers to Brother Olu. Everybody having something to do with him. A lot, but for one thing, education was the in thing around us there because we have the Federal Agric and Minister of Agric just about less than a mile away from where we live, and we see all the young people who are managers and one thing or the other. So I think he must have learned from that too, and it's like we don't call it lesson in those days, but it's like anybody who is senior to the other person is teaching him something. I started doing algebra in primary 4 of primary school because of those who surrounded me, like Brother Olu, Ashola, and the rest of the people who were around there. I would say also it's not only precocious in terms of, getting to do things that are meant for elders, growing up very quickly. He has this sort of energy, and those who went to Olivet with him, they used to call him human machine. He's everywhere, he doesn't get tired, in doing good things. Bolu has mentioned the fact that when we were in secondary school, he came back as a teacher, and we have quite a number of them in those days. That was enough inspiration to us to want to do, to want to be like them, to want to go to university, to want to do this, to want to do that. When I finished secondary school, I worked for some time in, what is NITEL. I work at P&T. So I was to go to, there is a training college in Ikeja that gave me admission at the same time I was given admission, to the university. And Bolu had the same experience, was to go to Yaba College of Tech and University of Lagos. So there was no controversy about it. It is university. Because we have people who have gone ahead of us who are going to the university. We don't even think of any other thing apart from that. That was because of the leadership that him and people like him gave to those of us who were coming behind. So we owe a lot of things to them. We owe a lot of things to that generation. One other thing to say about it is that in terms of understanding life, investments, and things like that, I think it's number one. Because when he built his house, I'm sure he must have been under 30. Right. When the Canal leader we talk about, when he built it, he must have still been under 30, And some of us also see that as, this is the thing that we need to do. I think I made it also. I built my house when I was still under 30 because of the example that we learned from him. It was from him I learned about investing in shares. I went to his house in Ojokoro, and they have all this. In those days, they have share certificates, and he was collating them. And I was saying, what is this man doing? So I was like looking at it and things like that. And it influenced my life, along that side. So he's also an influencer. Bolu has talked about bringing up his children and things like that. And his public service is excellent. He served Oyo State government, he served Lagos State government, he served as the president of Town Planners Association. And even when he leaves office, he doesn't stop there. He continues to still contribute, and to do things like that. I think you can't see somebody who died at 73 is what we call it. But one thing is, every of his life program shows somebody that was in a hurry.
Yeah.
Like he was in a hurry to deliver on something. He was in a hurry to deliver on something. He was just in a hurry to do things.
Yeah.
He was just in a hurry. Yeah. Maybe he realized that this time will not be forever. Yeah. And he will only be remembered by the things that he did. This issue at the Abisai School Alumni Association. The last meeting I had with him, which incidentally, Rati was there also, was to hurry us up to complete the transfer of power, to the newly elected executive. He was always in a hurry. He was always in a hurry. And I think the good Lord took him at the time when he has completed his program. I think so, that he must have completed his program because he was really in a hurry to complete it. And he was doing everything ahead of time. As Bolu said, he was always 2 steps ahead of others because he has an agenda, because he has to complete his task. So I felt bad for a number of days about him. And, I've seen last year, 2021 was particularly heavy in terms of people dying, losing people in the family, as friends, and things like that. And his own came at the last point of the year. All the other, you get hit one way or the other, but the last one actually made me cry. One arokan, and when you think of things, over and over again. So why again? When we thought the year was almost going, and we'll have gone with all his bad memories, and that happened. But again, the consolation is that I think he completed his program. He can say like Paul, I run the race, and I did my bit, and I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
So that is the way I will encapsulate everything that you said.
Thank you, sir. I will get back to you. I'd like to recognize Mrs. Akinola. Thank you. And on a short notice, you jumped on the very short notice. I apologize for that. I had you in mind, but I don't want to say too busy, but I've been having so many things to chew. I had you in mind, and I apologize. Before I like to take your own tribute, I want to say this, that which I said before the recording started. One day I woke up and I was following the trend in the Alumni Association, which apart from Pa Adegbile, Dr. Gideon Adegbile, all of us here can call that our constituency. I look at the trend that time, and this was March 3rd of 2017. I woke up that morning here in America and afternoon in Nigeria. And when I read the thread, I said, I wrote this to Dr. Ayayi. I said, good morning this afternoon, sir. This is Ronti from Sholadapo's younger brother. I didn't want him to have any doubt as who was writing him, because I know that he will recognize my brother's name first. So I said, this is a quick one to say hello to you, sir, and to thank you for your great contributions to the association. Thank you for your leadership Thank you for your foresight. Thank you for your fatherly roles. May the Lord continue to shower his blessings upon you. And I said, listen to this. No wonder they were calling you Baba, which means father, way back 30 years ago. Again, thank you, sir. Now, my global perspective mind is telling me that when we see positive things, we should say it. When we see good people, we should tell them to their face that they are good and what they are doing is benefiting the community. When we see things that are not up to what we expect, we should say it graciously, not to demonize anyone, not to pull anyone down. So that has always been in me even before I started this initiative. That is why I wrote this piece to Dr. Ayayi. It was a random one. I just picked up my phone and I just told him that we thank him for what he was doing. And today I have inner peace in me that I paid tribute to him in his lifetime, that I told him to his face that we appreciate him. And this is his response. And this response I will not forget as long as I live. He said, Ronti, it's so much a pleasure hearing from you. How are you and your family? Now, he will never forget to ask about your family, to ask about your wife, to ask about your children. That is the type of a person he was. And thanks for your memories. Your generation should take the baton and continue the race. And he ended by saying, please get in touch on phone. Now, he said that your generation should take the baton. He was giving a parting speech to me. This was a parting speech in 2017 and in 2017. Already, ready to go. So I want you guys to take up the baton. So Dr. Mrs. Janet Akinola, I'd like for you to please say your own tribute now.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ronti.
Thank you.
I didn't prepare any speech, so I will just go on. And when you think I've used up my time, just give me, a thumb up. I know Mr. Ayayi. I still remember, I still call him Mr. Ayayi. In 1967, when he came to Baptist High School as a teacher, a young teacher. In fact, to be honest with you, I don't usually recognize him as a teacher because we were more or less, colleagues. We were close in age. So, but we used to talk, we used to play, we used to joke together. And I remember I used to call him small teacher. But he was an excellent teacher. He was very versatile. You will see him going around everywhere, and I really love many of his personalities. And I think by then, they had a sort of Ibadan group of people, because I remember Miss Bumi Ayayi. I think both of them attended the Olivet Heights. And was it Bumi Ayayi? I think it must be Bumi Ayayi. Titi Ayayi, sorry.
Titi Ayayi.
I remember Titi Ayayi because Titi Ayayi came and teach as well. And she was a house mistress, I remember. And I happened to be the head girl, so very popular that many people in the school, I wouldn't say all, but many people will be familiar with Funke if they remember Funke. So And I was so popular, especially with all the teachers, no exceptions. Mr. Gola, Mr. Ojedokun, you would think we were our mates, because I don't know, I like people that are older than me, because I can benefit a lot from them. That's why I tend to move closer with the teachers more than actually my mate. In fact, that made me to, not to be very popular among my classmates, because they think I usually put them down, which I didn't. It's just I like to move with people that are older. To go back to Mr. Ayayi, I still call him Mr. Ayayi, I'm sorry. When I left Ire in 1969, we never met, but I always heard about him through one of the Irelewuyis. Pa Irelewuyi is from Ire. Was from Ire. So everybody knew that. But when I came to England, Pa Irelewuyi's first daughter happened to be a family friend, Jibola. So, and Jibola always calling Brother Bumi. Brother Bumi. Brother Olu, actually. She says Brother Olu. Okay. Brother Olu, she always say. So quite often we do talk about him. It was true. I had many things that were going on in his life. How he lost his first wife, and things like that. So, but fortunately for me, 2019, I went to Nigeria for Pa Irelewuyi's burial. And at the reception, even before the reception, when they were bringing the calls, because I was very visible at that reception. But before then, at the service of songs, here comes Bumi Ayayi. I said, wow. And then the following morning, he was in front, he was behind, he was in the middle, he was doing all the directions. And that was based on the relationship he had with the Irelewuyis. And I really so much appreciate that. And I said, wow, you were really true to yourself. He was everywhere. So at the reception, he caught up with me and he said, Funke, how are you? That was what people called me, I said, oh, yes, I'm fine. And I started casting jokes, on him. I said, you remember what they used to call you in Olivet, blah, blah, blah. And he said, Funke, gone are those days. I'm no more that. I have changed. I said, wow, praise God. So we had a quick chat and he asked me what I was doing. And I said, I'm holiday, but I'm based in Osogbo for the next 1-2 weeks. And he said, on my way back to Lagos, I will stop and say hello to you. True to his word, Bumi Ayayi did. On his way back to Lagos, he stopped at my place to say hello. He didn't stay too long, but we had useful discussions. We talk about life generally, and we talk about finances. And he asked me, I said, oh yeah, I'm retired, I'm not doing much now, I'm retired. And he said, oh yes. I said, you still working? Why are you still working? And he said, well, what do you expect if someone has been self-employed and you don't really have, pension to fall back on? So I've got to keep on working. I'm not like you, Funke. I'm not like you. And we just joked. I even offered him a drink and he said, just water. And he said, well, life is like that, but do your best before you go. And I will never forget the discussion, Daddy. Yeah. I will never forget the discussion. That was how we ended the discussion. And I came back to England. And the other times I heard from him was through alumni. I didn't even know alumni existed then. It was after our meeting, he mentioned to me about alumni. And I said, oh, that's quite good, that's nice, So I started to get involved in the alumni. I never knew alumni existed since 1974 because I hadn't been in touch with any alumni since I left Nigeria, in 1981. So I really thank God for his life, for what he stood for his country in Baptist High School. I wouldn't talk about Ire as much, but Baptist High School. And I really thank God because I knew him. I knew him to be fervent, and since he passed away, I mean, all the tributes, they made me to feel, hang on, Janet, you've got to do a little bit more. If Bumi can do all that, you've got to do a little bit more, because Arishe Larika, Arika Baba Irigun, is what you do that people will refer to when you are gone. I'm very, very impressed. I wish all the other alumni in the past had done such a thing. I just wished. And it's an encouragement for me. And I'm sure it will be an encouragement for many people that are coming. I don't know his relationship. I don't know his family directly, but I feel for them and I send my condolence, and I pray that God will comfort them. He will console them. He will console every members of the family. He will console the alumni and all the Ire people. May he so rest in perfect peace.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Ma. I appreciate you. And let me tell you that you are also an inspiration to some of us, the younger ones. I specifically mentioned you on the platform of our alumni association, that is to say, the Baptist High School Ire Alumni Association, a couple of days ago to recognize your contribution to the debate that we all agreed that we were going to have on the draft of the Constitution. You spoke with me in private, and I requested that you should please put it on the platform. You said you wouldn't like to do that, but you eventually did that. That was a big surprise to me, and I want to say thank you again for all you do. I'd like to thank Dr. Adegbile. He's standing by. I want to take a parting word from him. I haven't said always as we have said about Dr. Olubunmi Ayayi, and I like to say this also about Dr. Adegbile. We have a group here in America which we call Ire Community in America. He's our leader, he's our mentor, he's our father there. And I wouldn't want to say much today because we want to focus on the tribute to Dr. Ayayi. But sir, I'd like for you to please come back. I will invite you back. We're going to have a one-on-one conversation on this podcast, and we're going to talk about so many other issues. Especially, we'd like to know a little more about your exploits in the field of medicine, and we'd like to document that, sir, for the younger generations. The essence of this podcast is that we put the thoughts and the experiences of people like you on record, because we know that one day, somebody will be digging it out and they will find it useful. So let me take a parting word from you, sir.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Ladapo. I appreciate the honor and your kind words. What can I say about Bumi? He was the kind of person, from what everybody else has said so far and more. He was not a politician, but he was a politician. Yeah. He didn't for any office. In fact, a lot of the things that he served on, like being on the board of Bakoto, or the fact that he was the chair of Bakoto, the fact that he was the president of IPA, the fact that he was very useful in the Nigerian Baptist Convention, and so on and so forth. These were not things that he ran for. He was all kind of just asked to serve in those roles. But nevertheless, he would be so humble about anything that he did that he did not wear it on his shoulders. He didn't carry it in his head. For example, every time that I will go home in the last 5 years or so, and I will stay with him, I mean, within hours, people will be coming from different places to talk to him, about politics, about development, about something. And he was always available, and they valued his opinion, they valued his advice. That people will be coming from different walks of life, or even in the the powers that be, the kingmakers, the town planners, or the health for a variety of issues happening in the area, they will come to consult him, that really lent to the kind of person that he was. Or it never turned anybody off. It never said, no, I'm busy. It was always there for any and everybody. And he had that gift of whatever he did, really prospered and did well. And, I'm sure he failed in something, as we all fail in something, but he had a lot of kudos, coming to him from about every aspect of life that he lived. So I remember one time we were going from Lagos to Ibadan on our way to Ire, and the police stopped us. And he just sort of complied like everybody, because they were asking for this and that. And then as the cop was sort of getting a little bit out of hand, then he showed his little card. I forgot what they call it, but it's like
police committee public relation.
Right. So he showed
association.
That. Right. Immediately, the police officer said, sir, go ahead. I mean, but it didn't force his way through to show that first. He wanted to see how he will be taken care of, or be addressed by as any other person would. So he didn't put that in the face to say that I'm so and so. But so that's the kind of person that Bumi was. I was always very respectful, to whoever would be in charge of something that he was part of. But almost always he was the one in charge of making it, and he worked in the background. Every time that we went to Ire on the medical mission, he will have made arrangement for us to meet with the chiefs. We always did that. We'll meet with the IPA officials. We'll meet with the city, sort of like a county here, commission. And he made arrangement for all the things that we did there in terms of in his compound. He had about other 3 or 4 buildings that some of the professors at Poly were renting, but he will house anywhere from 12 to 20 or more people in his property, to be those who came from different places, Calabar, Kitty, and different Lagos and Ibadan, to assist us in the mission, that he will house them. And he already had his wife and the ladies that will be working with her to get meals ready, timely, plentifully. We wake up at 7 o'clock, to try to get ready for the mission work at 9. Food was already waiting for our breakfast. And there was nobody that would say they didn't have enough. I mean, there was always more than enough. And at lunchtime, they would bring lunch packages to us or the site. By the time we finished in the evening, dinner was waiting for everybody. So nobody had to really spend out of pocket money. He took care of all of that. He never asked me for a penny as to a brother, I need such and such. No, he took care of everything without asking him. And so that's the kind of person that he was. And so, I mean, I can go on and on and on about Bumi, as everybody else has. And he lived a life of legacy, that all of us have something to hold on to about him that we need to carry on. Yeah. And that will please him so much, that just like you said, he told you, Mr. Ladapo, that he passed the baton to you, to your generation, to carry. So all of of us will carry on the wonderful work that he left. He completed his work, but there's still more work to be done.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. So very grateful, sir. I like I said earlier, Dr. Olubunmi Ayayi said he's going to join us at about 10. When he does, we'll take his own. But I want to move quickly to Mr. Bolu Babatunde to give us the parting word in a few seconds.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Rossi. I mean, we won't know the extent of our miss until 5th of February, when it will be interred. But I know as a community array, we miss him very dearly because of his various roles and contributions to the community that has not been. Most of those things are not even penned for everybody to go through. I remember when Ire was to have his own local government, he was part of the people delegate from Ire that lies with Obagun, with Iba and things like that. And he has history. There's anything pertaining Ire that he has no facts, and these are real facts. I wouldn't know. I mean, that would be things that we will miss because I am not sure if those things are documented anywhere. And as a person, I will miss him because he served more than it was a pathfinder for me, you know, in life. And the last one-on-one topic with him, I was at Ire Day celebration. He was there as the former president, and I was there as chairman Lagos Zone. And he talked about 4 things. The first thing is the alumni, what they were doing. I talked about the CTC that we're doing. They talked about the new constitution. I talked about the collapsed building in Lagos. You know, it was part of the committee that Lagos State government. No, not even Lagos State. The professional set up, the engineer set up.
Yes.
He was never an engineer, but he was part of it because he has facts and figure, and these are the things that we're going to miss after 4th when he must have been interred. But I'm believing in God that that we pray on to, that God will make a replacement for the community, for every individual that has interaction with him, and the alumni definitely will miss him. But then, what can we do? We as Christians, we say we're going to meet again to part no more, and I believe that he's there with his maker, because he showed Christ to in a numbers of ways, and he brought a lot of people to Christ, you know, when he was alive, and that would be my consolation, that is with Christ, and we'll go to meet again. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, like you said, my last meeting with him was the one we had on the 21st of December, exactly a week before he left this world. I was actually going to exit. I set the meeting up with Zoom, and I was actually not going to be a part of the meeting, but he said, no, Ranti, this is not a secret society. Go ahead and stay. And I stayed, and I contributed in that meeting. So I'd like to thank you, Mr. Bolu Babatunde, that I gave you this invitation in a short notice, and with the logistics problem in Nigeria, you are able to make it. But before I move on to Dr. Odutolu, I'd like to please appeal to you, sir, to let us, I know you are doing it, about the draft constitution that Dr. Ayayi and his colleagues initiated, and they said we should put together. We need more of your support, sir. Thank you, sir, and God bless.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Happy to leave. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir. Yeah.
Thank you.
So, Dr. Odutolu, I'd like to get your parting shot, and I can see Sister Bola there. She can come. I honestly want her to come.
No, she's just returning from work.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Ranti. My parting was the same as what I've said before. He was precocious in many ways. Leadership was innate to him. He was compassionate, intelligent, and very thoughtful, and kind. I will also call him an encyclopedia in many things and in many ways.
Yeah.
He was an historian and an excellent storyteller. You can't sit with him and be bored. He has the story of 20 years ago, 30 years ago. You know, and he led a life of service and left behind a lot of legacies, which would be difficult to match. He was a man in a hurry because he has a mission. And I believe his mission has been accomplished. So I leave him in the hands of our good Lord and the angels to welcome him home as a true and worthy saint. May his soul rest in peace.
Amen.
Thank you, sir. One thing again that I remember about Dr. Ayayi before I move to Mrs. Akinola to give us our own parting shot is that he lived a simple life. He was not a man that will show off wealth or show off riches or show off. He was a comfortable man in his skin. You know, I saw him one day on Chinese television. I mean, he just went in there simple. But what was coming from him was not that simple. You know, he was just reeling out facts and figures. It was a man that we argue based on facts, based on conviction, based on science, based on 1 + 1 = 2. He was never a conspiracy theorist. And that is why I penciled him down to come and share his thoughts with us on Global Perspective podcast, and we never got to do that. So I'd like to go to you, Ma, to give us your parting word. Kindly unmute, Ma.
I think she's muted, yeah.
Yeah. I've requested her to unmute. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead,
Is
Ma.
that okay now? Okay, sorry.
Yes, it's okay now.
I'm sorry about that. I think Dr. Ayayi came, he saw and he conquered. Like you said, he was always in a hurry. I'm just picturing him now coming, towards the classroom when he's coming from the main road. He will be more or less like running, although he was walking. And that is him, always in a rush, like you said. He was a simple man, like you said, and I don't think he would have loved an elaborate burial, to be honest with you. Within me, I don't think he would have loved an elaborate burial. Maybe something in his name in the school would have been a parting farewell, maybe build a classroom and put it Olubunmi's classroom.
Yeah.
So that will go a long way, and generations to come we always say Olubunmi classroom or Olubunmi so and so. Because if we kill 10 cows, he cannot bring him back. And we will be the one that will consume the cows.
Yeah.
We will be the one to eat all the food. And as soon as we finish eating, everybody will forget. And it's a man that we shouldn't forget so quick, especially for Baptist Square. That's just my view and my suggestion. There could be other better views and better suggestions. He was a man I will never forget because he actually impressed me. So to everyone, God will console all of us.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, there is nothing God cannot do to bring a replacement, but that replacement, we have to work very hard to be able to fit in that big shoes, because the shoes he has left behind, they are very, very big. God bless everyone. God bless our alumni. And cheers.
Cheers. So,
just add something very quickly.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
In conjunction with what my sister just said, the board of Agape Love Medical Foundation, which Bume was very much part of, it was also, the steer of the whole process. We have, as a board, we have decided to name Agape Love Mission Foundation after Bume. So it will be Moses Olubunmi Ayayi Agape Love Mission Foundation.
Thank you so very much, sir. That is a breaking news.
Thank you. That's so kind of you.
Yeah, that's very good. Well done.
That is a breaking news, sir. So yeah, I showed this to us about my conversation with him in 2017 March, and when I heard that he was going to be celebrating his 70th birthday in December of 2018, I planned a visit to Nigeria because of particular other family engagement. So I made sure that I got to Nigeria with my wife to be at his 70th birthday. So we got to Nigeria on a Thursday, I think on a Friday, and the following Saturday was his birthday. And so we slept, dressed up, and went for his birthday. And that was the last time I saw him, flesh and blood. And I thank God that I was able to make his 70th birthday. And to lend credence to what you said about whether he will have loved an elaborate funeral and burial program, his birthday, his 70th birthday, was an example. After the church service, there was nothing again. Nothing. There was no lavish entertainment after. A few people got what they call takeaway packs, and that was it. There was no Obe, there was no Sunny, there was no Owambe. Essentially, the church service. So it was just a simple man that didn't complicate his social life. So on that note, I want to thank you again for your honoring my invitation to this tribute podcast recording today. I appreciate it so much. And I will be getting in touch with each and every one of us to solicit your coming back on one-on-one talk show. Thank you very much, and God bless. And to my audience, again, this is Oluranti Ladapo, Global Perspective Podcast. Global Perspective Podcast is a podcast that is that aims at discussing issues and lowering the temperature that has been going into extreme positions in the last couple of years globally. Extremists are taking over our public discourse, and they are coming up with conspiracy theories. They are dividing us. They are demonizing one another. And so the essence of this podcast is to lend our voices to the social, political, and economic conversation in the global arena, to let people know that, yes, there are people that are thoughtful, there are leaders that are not extremes, there are good people out there that will always say things the way they are, not to demonize other people to gain followership. Thank you, and God bless.